Good evening to everyone and greetings of peace. Normally in the meditation center, there is a very good greeting that we say, and you will be hearing this most of the time in the commentaries that will be played if you are joining our meditation, and we say Om Shanti, means I am a peaceful soul. So a good reminder, I am, when you say I am a peaceful soul, then, it reminds us of this basic quality that we have, which we are going to take up for tonight. Who am I? So welcome and welcome to our first session to complete the foundation course for meditation. So I repeat, this would go in a series until the sixth session. There would be 5 sessions that enable us to be able to go into the basic course of meditation. So today we're going to take up the very first and foundation knowledge that we have to know actually, which is who am I? So later at the end, I'm going to flash again what are the sessions, the lessons that we are going to take up for the meditation course. So hope everyone is doing fine, doing okay. So again, I remind you that when we are doing this, the subject matter, and we try to focus into the things that we are saying in relation to the self, in relation to discovering the self, in relation to how I am improving my relationship to myself. So the very basic thing that I need to improve on actually is how I relate myself, my relationship to myself. And as they say, you have heard this many times over, that is, if you have a very good relationship to yourself, then it is easy to follow how I can relate with others. Build up that self-respect, and things will be easy to deal with in relation to others. So the first thing that we're going to take up is to be reintroduced to the self. Who am I? So I'm going to share to you the PowerPoint. So how's everyone? I hope everyone is doing well. So the basic question, it sounds simple. Who am I? And this is actually a question that has been riddling philosophers on people of the olden times even. So even until now, the basic question of who am I comes into our mind, comes into how I relate to self. So I have asked you to introduce yourself, introduce myself, and when we introduce who am I, who are you, basically we come up with the name. So we have given our names, you have your names, you identify your names. In the identification card, what do you see in the identification card? Yeah, what do you see? What do you put in the identification card? The basic things. Of course, your name to make us be identified. What else? Nationality. So I hope you are responding on your own there and following with me. What else? So you put there your address and so on and so forth. So basically, when we get to introduce or we get to know others, what are the things that we include? So we thought that we know and we identify others. As you can see in the illustration here, the physical identity, the bodily identity that we normally focus our attention to when we want to get to know or introduce ourselves. I've mentioned some, which is your name, the gender, the occupation, the job. I am a teacher. I am a doctor. I am a nurse. I am. Nationality, I am a Filipino, I am an Indian, I am a Bahraini, and so on. So also religion, we can relate and we include religion as one of the things that perhaps identify us with. Our roles, I am a mother, I am a child, and so on. We can also go into our family affiliations. I am in whatever. So in your country, if this kind of family like here, so say the Khalifa, when you say Khalifa, well, it sounds something else. You are identified as something else. So other things that will come, even you can relate in terms of your dog, your possessions. So basically, in general, we come up with relationship or identity in terms of our role, in terms of our physical appearance, in terms of our jobs, in terms of what we do, in terms of our what we have achieved, our education, family affiliation, religion, possessions. We also identify with our possessions. And we can go into a subtler level, the more subtle identification, like the character. We identify with our talent. We identify with our emotions. We identify with our feelings. And subtly, we identify with our thinking, with our thoughts. So it can go that line in the gross way, really the physical, it can go into a subtle way, identifying with these things in terms of feelings, emotions, and so on. So are we truly these identities that we have connected with, or that we put ourselves, portray ourselves as the way we are? Are we those? Am I the name? Not, not really. Why? I can change my name. For several, they have several names, and you can change the name. Are you the job? Am I the job? So again, not really. Why? I can change the job. I can change religion. I can change if nationality will be there. But again, you can come up with another way to have another nationality. Now go into the other aspects. Am I my car? No, the car can go. Am I my job? The job can go. My intelligence is not that permanent. This personality is not permanent. So basically what I'm trying to say here is these are not my identities because they come and they go. The I am is supposed to be that which it is from the beginning until the end, which is the truth. It does not change. But all of these things that we are identifying ourselves with, one basic quality that they have is one, they are subject to change. So they are perishable. At any point in time, they have what you call expiration dates. So when we go shopping, what do? We come up with our, we go through what is the expiration. So the same thing. So all of these things that we are identifying ourselves with will expire. They are subject to change. What happens? What is wrong? Or if I identify with things that are not permanent, that someday or maybe at any moment in time they can go, what happens? Let's take the job. Of course, the job that you take in gave you a lot of things. It gave you pleasure. It gave you security in one way or another. It brings happiness, sometimes frustrations as well, and so on. So what happens when I hold on to this identity? When it goes, I will definitely be affected. I will definitely experience sorrow. Why? I hold on to that. So for example, let me get something else to explain to you. Okay, anyway, I have the remote here. So this one. Let us assume that this is a very, let's say, precious thing. So it's a representation of your job. It's a representation of your possessions that you hold to be valuable, that I thought it is giving me happiness, that I thought it is giving me security, that I thought it's giving me something else that somehow makes me experience life as happiness. So let's say, okay, I hold on to this physically. Let's start with the physical holding on to this one. So if I hold on to this so tightly, what happens when it has to go? If somebody say, let me have that, I need that. So somebody will grab this one. We definitely feel the pain. And the more we grip into this, the more we feel the pain. Mentally, that is what is going to happen. So we have a lot of gripping, we have a lot of holding on actually into these things into our mind. So it's the same thing. The more I hold on tightly into this, and the truth is they are bound to go, they are subject to expiration. When they go, I experience the pain. So same thing also mentally. The more I hold on to that, when it goes, I feel sorrow. So if I would have the right attitude to this, that is, anything of this are here, but I don't hold on. The key word here is holding on. I am just holding this object as the way it is, like this. So when somebody needs it, when it has to go, I feel it, but I don't experience that thing. I feel the going. But because it is open, I am not holding on to anything. See what happens. You hold on to something, it has gone, and still in the mind, you are holding on to this. So grip like this, there is always a pain physically that is experienced. Similarly, if we are having this also mentally, that grip, the tighter it is, the more pain that we have. And the second aspect here is when it is closed like this, I am fixated into something else. Nothing can come. But if the attitude is open, come and go, come and go. So what happens? Something will come, something will go. Something will come, something will go. Yes, there will be some kind of pain, frustration, but you can easily come back because there is no holding on. So that attitude of that I basic that not to hold on, not to identify that because I am not any of these things. As I've said earlier, the basic law, the basic spiritual law that we have to understand is to know myself. Who is that real identity that I have? We are identifying to a lot of these things, to these images that we have, and this is where it will bring pain, it will bring sorrow at a certain point in time. For example, let's say your car. You've got a new car. Park the car somewhere. Well, here in Bahrain, yeah, it's very good. Then you can park the car somewhere else, even very nice cars, and the following day, you still find the car intact. But in other places, for example, also in the Philippines, no, with a lot of these things, park the car like that, I don't know what's going to happen the following day. So anyways, going back to that example. So, new car. And of course, you feel so happy that you've got a new car. And you want to show to others that you got a new car. Everybody would look, oh, he has a new car. Wow, that's nice. So what do we feel? We feel so much elated. But is that kind of feeling of satisfaction permanent? What happens now when somebody scratch the car? Of course, you get mad, you feel the pain. Because at that moment, when the thing happened to that object that I am identifying with, I feel sorrow because I feel I have become that car at that particular moment. So this is now the close relationship with that identity that we are holding on, anything that we hold on, because of that connection that we have. If it go, we feel the pain. If it changes, there will always be something that we feel. Second is we will have something like identity crisis. So can you imagine, for example, the roles that you have? In the office, you are the manager. If I hold on to that, when I go home, you are the boss in the office. So when you go home, what happens? If you hold on to that particular role, when you go home, you are still the boss, even though not, if you're supposed to be the mother. So it's not so easy to change that role when we hold on tightly to a certain role. Unknowingly, we are living up to that role inappropriately in that situation where it is not the case. I am supposed to play the role of a mother. But because again of this, then it is very difficult to switch on into this because of that wrong identity. The self-image is based into this physical, into this a lot. Okay. Sorry for that glitch. Yeah, okay. So can you hear me now? So I think something went wrong a bit for a while with the Wi-Fi. So now, okay. So let's go into that, what I was talking about, being insecure. So innately, for example, your position, your job, innately, we know that we cannot hold on that particular job the whole time. So what happens? You hold on to that. It had brought some kind of satisfaction. We hold on to that. But at a certain point, we know that it can go. So it creates some kind of insecurity. Because where we are getting our happiness is based on a temporary support. That support can go at any point in time. So that insecurity will come. And it will go down the line. We all want to feel secure. So it will create more desires. And the desires that we have is still in line with something that is physical, something again that will come and go. I just replace it into another object, but it is still in that dimension of it being temporary. So again, it will create further and further unwanted feelings, uncertainty, if desires will not be fulfilled. If not fulfilled, if not fulfilled, there will be anxiety, there will be worry, stress, and fear. So that's where it will go. If not fulfilled, there would be anger, hatred, jealousy, or even revenge. What are the other consequences of this? There would be a blaming, blaming the self when not fulfilled, blaming others when not fulfilled, blaming maybe somebody, some kind of entity. So that would result to low self-esteem. It will result to frustration, sadness, depression. So now we understand, so at this point, this is a very important paradigm. This is a very important illustration. So we know where we are. If, for example, we experience a certain form of anger, where does it come from? When my desire, why am I angry? Because I did not get what I want. And I wanted that because I thought that that is the source of my happiness. I thought that is the source of my security. Low self frustration, sadness. If I am into that, where is it coming from? Because again, of a certain form of desire, based now again on something that is temporary, is not fulfilled. So the basic thing is I want to feel secure, but I am building up my insecurity into something that is temporary. So it will go now into that cycle. I felt I get secure into this, but again, it is not the kind of support that I truly wanted. So when I am into this false consciousness. We call it now body consciousness into this identification. So these are the things that would be the consequence. There will be, of course, the false identity, the ego. There would be anger. There would be attachment. There would be greed. So if you get your desire, what happens is you get the desire, you want more, you want more. So we equate actually our happiness, we quantify our happiness. So for example, you get the salary increase, you feel so happy. No? You feel so happy, you thought we feel happy because of the salary increase. So innately again, subconsciously, we are thinking that, oh, if I have another increase, then I will be happier. If I'll get this one, I will be happier. So what happens? I am now putting myself into an ending cycle of taking and getting more and more desire, because the source of the happiness is actually temporary, which is not really the kind of happiness that we truly want. So there will be many conflicting identities also. There would be boredom, guilt, shame. So all of these things will be the result. The consciousness that will come, the feelings that come, emotions that come. Why? It's because of the wrong identity, which results that insecurity. We want to feel secure, but we are putting that building up that security in a certain sense where it is temporary, it is subject to change at any point in time it can go. So I hope at this point I understand where my anger comes from, where the anxiety comes from, where the worry comes from. Comes from where? Insecurity because of that false self-image. So what do we do then? If I have a false image, I must have a true image, right? So I must have a true image. So how do I look at myself? So I am that being of light, as you can see in the illustration, that being of light located at the center of my forehead here. So that's why if you're going to look at somebody, look at this point, look at yourself in this position. And the more focused that you can sense and you can perceive, you can feel that energy which is actually running this body. That light energy we call the soul, we call the spirit, we call the Atma, we call the life force energy within. What is the purpose? What is the role of this entity, this being? The role is to play a certain part, to express its being, its potential. It's to create. And for that, it needs the body to be able to do that expression. So that's why we have the human being. What I presented to you earlier is the human part of me. There is the human, which we cannot separate also from that inner being, that spirit, that life force energy that really drives this body. So, but my purpose is to express my innate quality. I am immortal. While the body has its expiration, that at a certain point it will grow old or even not grow old at a certain point, there is a time for it to grow. The soul is immortal. The soul, because it is an energy. Okay, anyway, while the brother is fixing this one, so I repeat. So the perception, how do I see myself? Most of the time, we see ourselves in terms of this physical, because we see it. It's there. It's easy to relate something into how you feel, you see it, you hear it, and so on. And we are trained in our science that what is real is anything that you can touch, is anything that you can see, anything that you can, it's three-dimensional. That's what they say. That's what I remember when I learned I had my science. Anything that is real or defined real to be something that is of the three dimension. But the soul I cannot see, but very powerful. It is the life force energy of the body. It is located at the center of the forehead. And the purpose, what is the purpose? As I was saying, it is to express this innate quality. It doesn't have a lifespan. Like what we have learned in our science, that energy can never be created nor destroyed. So the same thing, that the soul cannot be created nor destroyed. So that I have to remember. So who am I? I am the spirit. I am that entity that is making this body move. We all know that if we have seen somebody who is dead, no matter what you do to that body, it's not going to feel anymore. Why? The soul is not there. The spirit has gone. So, but here, so even though we are on this kind of setup, still we feel the energy of each one, isn't it? So the question is, who is feeling? Who is thinking? Who is speaking? Who is hearing? I, the spirit through the body. Without the body also, the spirit cannot relate into or it cannot express what it is supposed to express. So I have to understand this integration, which I will be discussing a bit later, between the spirit and the body. I am the human being, but I should not forget the being which is in the human. And this is very important, the innate qualities of the soul. So basically, each one of us created in such a way that we have enough, we are abundant of the things that we are trying to pursue in relation to the things out there. I pursue happiness through relationship, through objects, through things. But actually, I am a being of happiness. To start with, I am a being of peace. Here, okay? So the innate qualities, knowledge, I'm a being of knowledge, peace, love, bliss, mercy, purity, and power. I want to start with peace. Why is everyone wanting and crying out for peace? Because that is our innate quality. We are not going to look for something that we don't have. Physically also, you know that you have a diamond ring and you misplace it. Definitely, by all means, you will look at that. Why? You know that you have that. You just misplace it somewhere. So the same thing. Why are we looking for peace? Why are we wanting for peace? Because that is our innate quality. Once we have it, try to relate it when we were young, when we were kids, when we were children. Try to see your pictures if you still have them, or look at the children. See, okay, they are so spontaneous. They are so like happy. They're so joyful. Nothing can come in there in relation to worry, in relation to fear even. That is acquired and developed. But what is the basic? What do we see as experiences of these children? It is bliss. It is happiness, the purity. Why everyone is attracted to babies? Why everyone is attracted to the children? Because of that nature, the energy of that soul, of that person, that child is that purity, that love, that peace, that joy. that exudes. Definitely, okay? We have this energy that we have that will definitely radiate, whether we like it or not. It will vibrate. It's always where we come up with this feeling. So I've got to remember now, and I've got to have that belief that I am abundant of this. These are actually part of me. We cannot use anything if I'm not aware that I have love, for example. Love is my basic quality. If I don't know that I have it inside, I cannot use it. So even it's there, if I don't have that awareness, I will not be able to use. For example, I put a certain amount in your bank account and I forgot, or I put a certain amount in your wallet. Somebody put that amount in your wallet. Then you want to buy something. You thought that you don't have enough money because, or in your bank, no? Because you're not aware that there is a certain amount that has been there. So you cannot use it because I am not aware. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is go into this awareness of who I am, my innate qualities. Only then can I experience. So that's why in the meditation that we are doing, meditation, the basic like last time, we ended up with that meditation. So it's like suggesting, telling, planting this thought that I am this. I have to accept, I have to affirm. So when I realize I am aware, I understand, and I realize this important concept and perception of who I truly am, then I develop the higher being consciousness in me, which is the soul identity. And what is the aspect of the soul identity as differentiated from the identity of the body? Soul identity, I own nothing. I own no thing. So if you try to see the word nothing, it is no thing. So if you own nothing, you cannot lose anything. Another important aspect, which is contrast with the things that we are trying to get support. They are subject to change. They are temporary. But here, identification with the soul is eternal. The soul is immortal. So if I am really into this, it will create that security instead of insecurity. It will create contentment at a certain point. And once you have that contentment, you will access peace. You will access joy. You will access love. That contentment will hold on to that purity, which is now the absence of these desires that actually is the one that is giving sorrow in our life. So as they say, in terms of the frequency of these vibrations, to start with a higher frequency level, you have to start with that contentment, that feeling of contentment. Then only can I go into higher emotions, which create a higher vibrational. I will go into a higher vibration that is peace, joy, and love. I cannot go into this joy if I don't build up that proper contentment. It's that contentment that I have within that feeling that I have enough. I should not be worried because everything that I need is there. And since I have the things that I need, then I'll be able now to create. So contentment does not mean that we stagnate. Contentment means that I am happy with what I have achieved, but I know that I can still go on further because the nature of the soul is to express, to further express. See the difference between this paradigm and the first paradigm. Who would not want to go into this most of the time, if not all the time? If in one day we can go into this kind of state of mind, the state of the being, then I think it makes a big difference into my life and into the life of the others. Now, the right relationship then between the body and the soul. So now the human being, not the human doing. Yeah, there is this thing. If I'm not aware of the being, then I become the human being because human doing. Because my awareness is only what I'm doing, doing, having. Then I become the human doing. I become the human having because that identity, I focus, the awareness is in terms of that human, the doing and the having only. What about if you have the being in the human? So the being and the doing together, a balance and integration of the two. So we can't say also because I'm meditating, then I will not have any business with the world out there. I'm not going to do my job properly. No, it's not all about that. The Raja Yoga meditation that we have here is meditation is not just sitting down, but meditation, that's why we have open-eyed meditation here, is when I go out there, I carry on that awareness of who am I carry the being into whatever I am doing, then I I fulfill the purpose, the aim of why I have this body, why I have these things, because I use them to be able to express the being that I have in me. So this is where the balance goes, that my state of being determines the nature of whatever I am doing and what I have. So you can see now the difference between the consciousness when my consciousness is in relation to the body and in relation to the soul. So you can go quickly for this. Huh? So basically, there is the ego. If you have the ego, there is inferiority or superiority. So ego is feeling a victim, feeling inferior, or feeling superior. Either way, definitely it's going to affect my relationship and it will affect my self-esteem. Whereas if I am soul conscious, there is a positive self-image. There is the true self-respect, which I build on to be able now to go into my doing, whatever I am doing. It will build the confidence. I want to give an example at this point. Somebody who had been taking the course when she was out of job. So somebody told her that now that you are not doing anything while waiting or looking for a job, why don't you use your time and go for meditation so you don't go into this worry or fear and so on. So she did. And while she was taking the course, she got she got she was applied for a job and she was called for an interview. So in that place where she applied. And in that place that she applied, it is in the American base actually. So when you go for an interview, as we have gone through, there are butterflies in the stomach. We feel nervous, isn't it? Why? Because I may fail. See, again, it's all about the thoughts that come. I may fail. What are they going to say? Will I be able to answer? And so on. So what she did was, because she had seen people who have been leaving the interview room, the room where they do the interview. So she had seen the faces of these people that like they were nervous. It's like she can see the face of these people. So she was feeling nervous, but she remembered that lesson that we have. She took the first and the second lesson already, the third actually. So about this, the soul, I'm looking at the soul. We are different in terms of the body, but we are the same actually in terms of the entity which is within that body. I the soul, you are the soul. You are playing the role, I am also playing the role. We are in that soul. So she built that. So she was doing her meditation actually. So when it was her turn to be interviewed, she had that. She had built that kind of confidence and that kind of respect. I don't have to prove anything. I just have to be connected with my being. That is an important factor to be able to build that confidence. So she noticed that while the questions were being given to her, it was very spontaneous for her to give the answer. She was relaxed. That confidence is there. So what happened is, instead of being interviewed for a second time, for a third time, they asked her already to report to job on a certain day. She was so excited to tell me the result of that kind of experiment that she did. That is just sit on that awareness of who I truly am and believe that we have all of these things that we need to be able now to carry out the role that we have. If we forget, we go into that lack of self-respect, we get nervous and we make mistakes and so on. Come back quickly so you can do your experiment, and I hope you get to have some pleasant experiences also. So what happens further, if we are into the consciousness of body wrong identity, there will be lack of control over your senses, there will be compulsion, there will be addiction. Whereas there will be respect of the body and others, there will be mastery. So that's why this is Raja Yoga. I master myself. I am the master of my senses rather than the senses controlling me, rather than my mind controlling me, rather than my thoughts controlling me. Then you get better relationship if you have soul consciousness rather than dependency and attachment. And if you are in the body conscious because of this, there would be prejudice, judgmental comparison. So happiness does not last. So we go into greed, frustration, fear. Here, life becomes meaningful. We experience the inner happiness. We become the giver, very important. Because we are aware that we actually have the things that I'm trying to pursue out there. As they say, to feel love, you have to give love. To feel the joy, you have to give joy. So I should be giving what I want, then it will come back to me a thousandfold. So fearless, worry-free. Be, you are in the present moment. So your life is your choice. So of course, if it is the first time to go into this, then it's okay. You just have now to recall and remind the self that I am the soul, and I am the soul means I go into the innate quality. What is my purpose in this? It is actually to express that innate quality that I have. So if you're aware of this one, then the talking becomes meaningful. The relationship with others becomes meaningful. If we are in that state of peace, it will make a big difference. So, how to do the shift is to do this self-reflection. I am aware of what I have inside and I reflect that. I experience that first by coming up with that deliberate practice that I am a peaceful soul, for example. I concentrate on this. I concentrate on that aspect of my innate quality as I am identifying myself. Then what happens? The feeling will come in terms of the truth of who I am. I awaken my potential, my innate, my pure potential. It can only be awakened by connecting to it, by practicing it. So that is the state of being that we all want so that we can enjoy how life is supposed to be. Why are we here? Basically, it is to experience happiness. Look at nature. Nature, they are not into where we are, that kind of thinking like human beings are. So you can see that they, just the way they are, they survive, they flourish, and so on. But for us, we think of life to be difficult, and it is difficult if we think of it like that. So it is a matter of perception. And the first perception that I have to fix is the way I look at myself. If I look at myself in this way, the highest way, I think that is the best way to love ourselves and to recognize what is the purpose. The purpose is to express this innate quality. Peace, I repeat, peace, joy, love, the purity has to maintain. We are pure souls. I have the knowledge. I am a being of harmony. So if this is my awareness and consciousness, how is it if I have to speak? I have to speak with love. One time, there was a group of students. They were in a grade 3 and grade 4 level. The teacher had been doing meditation and thought of part of their field trip is to bring them here. So I gave a very short lecture about the mind and about this awareness of who I am. Anyway, to cut the story short, at the end, so the children are easy to deal with. Why? They don't have a lot of things that they have to undo. So if you know, now you are aware that you are a being of peace. Now, when you go back, how do you relate with your senses? How do you relate with your body? How will this affect in terms of how you relate with the others? And somebody, they have said that I'm going to use my arms to express love, hugging. I'm going to use my mouth. I would say thank you. And so on. See, this is so natural for these children to say it, which is true. It is simple, but it is true, and that's the way it is. Just when we are in this good state of being, you go out there with a smiling face. Others, when they see you, what will they do? You don't know them, that they will respond also. You give that kind of vibration. I have one more story. One time, I was waiting for my transfer in one of the malls, and he will be delayed for 30 minutes. So I thought of getting ice cream in one of the ice cream parlor there. In there is the mother and son who also we came in together. So they were served first. So it took them a little bit time because two of them and they had to figure out what flavor they want. So in the meantime, I kept myself busy by answering some messages, which I was not able to because I was so busy earlier, the few hours. So when they finished, so it's like I was, I think, patient, waiting for my turn. So no kind of thinking that why it's taking them so long. I should hurry. I should, it should be my turn and so on. No, not kind of thing like that. So I just waited. And when they finished, and I got also, it's just one scoop that I wanted. The mother said, would you mind? I would be happy if I'm going to pay for your ice cream. I don't know them, huh? And I was surprised. Here, I never had I don't know if you had that kind of experience, no? Somebody you don't know, all of a sudden, would just offer that they want to pay for your ice cream. So for me, it's like, it's not that happiness because somebody paid for my ice cream, but it's just that moment in time that when you are really in that proper state of being, that kind of vibration will do a lot of wonder. It was a magical moment. So of course, the ice cream tastes a lot better because of that kind of experience. Magical moments, like you say, oh, it's like a miracle. No, it's all about when I am aligned with this first spiritual law of using and going into my innate quality and expressing this, a lot of wonders will happen. Somebody also, when I was in supermarket, and I got some things, and he was there, and I was just waiting patiently. And again, this brother said, so I smiled. He looked at me and I smiled at him. And then he said, would you mind also if I'm going to pay for your stuff? I felt like a small kid.
and there is somebody who's going to pay for my chocolate. And I just felt so happy. This was one time again. And I said that, imagine, no, you just have to be patient there, stand for your turn, rather than saying, because he has to go and get something apart from what he has in the counter. So it just had to be, put the being in there, and you can see some wonders that will come of what you are going to express, of how it is in life. So that is for today. So I hope you have some good takeaways that you can, let's say, ponder on, that you can reflect on, that you can experiment on while for tomorrow, because we are not going to meet tomorrow. We are going to meet on Wednesday. So I want to repeat that we are going. So today is who am I. On Wednesday is very important. So if you can afford not to miss it, because we understand further the anatomy of the consciousness. If I would want to come up with a transformation, I should know how this will work out. And that is what we are going to discuss on Wednesday. And then that is included in the list that I have. And then on Sunday next week, it would be the lesson on the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Being. And then the law of karma for Monday. And then finally, to end up our course, but it's not the end of the meeting if you want to, it would be the powers of the soul. So these lessons that we are presenting to you would somehow help us to make us get grounded into meditation, make us get grounded into who we truly are, make us get grounded into happiness, into how we want now to experience life to be. So again, if you have some questions, you can just again put in the chat board, and then so if you have some questions, you can put that in the next meeting. Remind me if ever is something that needs to be addressed as soon as we can. So we are going to end up with a short meditation. I'm going to do a commentary so that you get an example of how it is. You are just sitting down quietly in your office, whatever it is, and you can just connect to your being, that moment of silence, and that will make a difference. So that's what we're going to do to wind up our meeting. So sit comfortably and try to do away with some distractions that you have for a while. You can go back to those things later. So be still. I sit comfortably and just allow this instrument, this precious instrument, the body, to be still. Just to be in that state of stillness. After all, this instrument have done its part for the day. It's time to give it rest for a while. Leave the experiences behind. Most of all, the feelings, the emotions that had come with those experiences. They would come, they would go. Not to worry. This is the precious time As I allow the body to be still, I turn inward, maintaining the awareness that I am a beautiful being, a powerful being, the being of light energy, unlimited. For a while, I just have to get out from the cage of the consciousness of the body, the possessions, these have put limitations into me. And now I remember who I am. I am a being of light, so pure. I am the being of peace. I am calm. I choose to be calm. I choose to be peaceful. This is my nature. I experience the lightness. I experience the flow, the freedom. I can sense the energy flowing. I feel so light and good. And I thank this moment. I am so thankful and in gratitude, knowing who I truly am. The deepest respect to look at myself in the highest way. Now I have the key to open up other treasures, treasures of joy and love, not only for myself, but also for others. So now, with this heightened feeling, I come back to the consciousness that I, the being of light in this body, maintain this consciousness as I go out to the world and offer to the world the beautiful world that I have inside. What better gift can I give to the world? The gift of peace and love.
So we end up the meditation. So this is an example of how you can do your simple meditation, short meditation. If you want, you can have it in a longer time. So find time in the morning before actually you start with something else. You build up, like you do this program already for your day and see the difference of how it is. So maybe you can do this experimentation tomorrow and let me know how it is of some experience or some questions that you might have that we can deal with on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I'm going to meet you and wish you all a lovely evening, wish you a good day and happy days, peaceful days to come. It's all in our hands. Thank you so much.